Most seniors think lowering blood pressure requires long walks, strict diets, and more medication. But listen carefully. Some of the most effective changes take less than 10 minutes, and most people over 60 completely ignore them. Here's the dangerous part. By the time your blood pressure reaches 150 or 160, the damage may already be years old. Silent damage. Inside your arteries, inside your kidneys, inside your brain. High blood pressure rarely causes pain early on. That is why so many people feel shocked after a stroke, heart problem, or emergency hospital visit. Most people don't realize this. Blood pressure is not only about salt, it is also about arterial stiffness, nervous system overload, and circulation problems that slowly worsen after 60. And pills alone do not fully solve those problems. Stay with me, because today I'm going to show you the simple 10-minute routine many cardiologists never fully explain. And one part of this routine looks almost too simple to work, but the science behind it is remarkably powerful. I'm Dr. Knox Carter, and for more than 20 years, I've worked with adults struggling with heart disease and high blood pressure. I've seen strokes, heart failure, kidney damage, and I can tell you something honestly. Most blood pressure treatment starts too late. People wait until the numbers become frightening. Then suddenly everything feels urgent, but the real damage started long before those numbers appeared. This is where it gets dangerous. High blood pressure works silently, minute by minute, hour by hour. Every heartbeat pushes pressure against artery walls, and over time those walls become stiffer and less flexible. Think about an old garden hose. When it becomes rigid, the same water pressure feels much stronger inside it. That is exactly what aging arteries do. Now here's the frustrating part. Most people receive the same advice. Walk more, reduce salt, take medication. And yes, those things matter. But very few people are taught how to improve arterial flexibility directly. Very few people understand how stress hormones affect blood pressure every day, and almost nobody explains how the nervous system changes after 60. Listen carefully. Medication can lower the number temporarily, but your body still needs better signals, better circulation, better vessel relaxation, better nervous system recovery. That requires something deeper than pills alone. And once people understand that, everything about blood pressure starts making more sense. Frank was 71 years old, and every morning the first thing he reached for was his blood pressure monitor. Not coffee, not breakfast. The monitor. He checked his numbers constantly. 147. Every month they seemed slightly worse. His doctor increased his medication twice in 1 year. Frank followed every instruction carefully. Less salt, less restaurant food, smaller portions, more walking, but inside he felt increasingly frustrated because despite all the effort, his body still felt tense all the time. His chest felt tight sometimes at night. His sleep became lighter, and every new reading created more anxiety. One morning, Frank stood up too quickly from the couch. Suddenly, the room tilted violently. His balance disappeared. He slammed against a wooden side table and collapsed onto the floor. Blood streamed from a cut above his eye. At the emergency room, his blood pressure was dangerously elevated, and Frank kept repeating the same sentence. I'm trying so hard. That sentence stayed with me, because many people over 60 feel exactly the same way. They are trying, but nobody explains what is actually happening beneath the numbers. Weeks later, Frank's daughter showed him a short video about isometric exercises, wall sits, planks, breathing control. Frank almost laughed. How could standing against a wall help my arteries? But he tried it anyway. At first, his legs shook badly after 30 seconds. He felt ridiculous. But something surprising happened after several weeks. His morning readings slowly began falling, not dramatically overnight, but steadily. More importantly, his body felt calmer. His chest tension improved. His sleep became deeper. And for the first time in years, he stopped feeling powerless every morning. Most people don't realize this. Blood pressure is not only mechanical, it is neurological too, and that changes everything about treatment. Let me explain something important simply. Your arteries are not rigid pipes, they are living tissue. Healthy arteries stretch slightly every time the heart pumps blood. Then they relax again. That flexibility protects your entire cardiovascular system. But after 60, things begin changing slowly. The artery walls thicken, elastic fibers weaken, inflammation builds over time, and stress hormones keep blood vessels tighter than normal. This is where it gets dangerous. A stiff artery creates pressure much faster. Even normal blood flow starts pushing harder against vessel walls. Think again about an old garden hose. A new hose bends easily. An old hose feels rigid and brittle. The same water pressure creates far more force inside it. That is exactly what happens inside aging arteries. Most people think blood pressure is simply about the heart pumping too hard, but often the bigger issue is the blood vessels refusing to relax properly. Listen carefully. Walking helps, healthy food helps, medication helps, but many traditional approaches do not directly train arterial flexibility. That is why some people walk every day and still struggle with elevated pressure. Now, here's the surprising part. Certain exercises create temporary blood flow restriction, then rapid blood vessel expansion afterward. That repeated expansion response acts almost like physical therapy for arteries, and research over the last several years has become remarkably strong on this topic, especially for adults over 60. Stay with me, because now we reach the part most people never expect. The exercise that works best barely looks like exercise at all. The exercise I'm talking about is called isometric training, and most seniors have never heard of it because honestly, it looks too simple to matter. You are not running, not jumping, not lifting heavy weights. Sometimes you barely move at all. But listen carefully. The effect inside the arteries can be surprisingly powerful. A wall sit is one example. You slide your back against a wall. Your knees bend, your legs hold the position steadily. Your muscles stay under tension without movement. A plank works similarly. Your muscles contract continuously while your body remains still. This is where things become interesting. During these holds, blood flow temporarily becomes restricted inside working muscles. Then when the hold ends, blood rushes back rapidly. That sudden expansion forces blood vessels to relax and open. Repeated over time, the arteries begin responding better. More flexibility, better circulation, lower resting pressure. And research on this has become extremely difficult to ignore. Several major studies found that isometric exercises reduced systolic blood pressure significantly, sometimes by numbers similar to medication changes. That surprises many people, because the exercises appear almost effortless from the outside. But internally, your vascular system is working intensely. Now, here's the important part. Most people over 60 start too aggressively. They force themselves through pain, then quit completely 3 days later. Do not do that. Start small. 30 seconds? That is enough initially. Build slowly every week. Your arteries adapt gradually. Your nervous system adapts gradually too. Frank started with 3-0-second wall sits. His legs trembled constantly. But after 6 weeks, his body felt completely different. More stable, more relaxed, more energetic during the day. And many patients describe something similar. Not just lower numbers, less pressure inside themselves emotionally. Because constant stress keeps blood pressure elevated too. Most people don't realize this. Your arteries listen to your nervous system all day long. Stay with me, because the next part of the routine works directly on that hidden stress response. Margaret was 76 years old, and unlike Frank, she stopped worrying about blood pressure completely. Not because her numbers improved, because she felt tired of thinking about it. No headaches, no pain. I'm probably fine. That became her daily mindset. Meanwhile, her blood pressure quietly stayed elevated for years, sometimes higher, but she never felt symptoms clearly. That is the terrifying part about hypertension. The damage often happens silently. One afternoon, Margaret drove to a grocery store near her home. While standing near the checkout line, something suddenly felt wrong. She forgot what she was buying, then she struggled to remember where she parked. Her speech slowed. One side of her face felt heavy, a small stroke. Not massive, but enough to change her life completely. At the hospital, Margaret looked terrified, not only because of the stroke, because she finally understood how quietly blood pressure destroys blood vessels over time. Listen carefully. Most people wait for pain before taking health seriously, but blood pressure rarely announces itself early. It slowly damages the brain, the kidneys, the eyes, and the heart, minute by minute, year after year. Margaret cried while speaking with her daughter later that evening. She kept saying the same sentence repeatedly. I thought I had more time. That sentence stayed with me, because many adults over 60 believe feeling normal means being healthy, but arteries can stiffen silently for decades. Months after leaving the hospital, Margaret committed herself fully to the 10-minute routine. Wall sits, controlled breathing, slow hydration every morning. At first, she doubted something so simple could matter, but over time, her pressure stabilized gradually. More importantly, her confidence returned. She stopped feeling helpless inside her own body. And that emotional change became just as important as the numbers themselves. Now we reach the part most people underestimate completely: breathing. And I know what some people are thinking. How could breathing possibly affect blood pressure? Listen carefully. Your nervous system controls blood vessel tension constantly. Every minute of every day, your body has two primary modes: fight or flight, and rest and recovery. The fight or flight system raises heart rate, tightens blood vessels, and increases blood pressure rapidly. That response protects you during emergencies. But here's the problem. Many adults over 60 stay partially trapped in stress mode all day long, even while sitting quietly, even while watching television, even while trying to sleep. This is where it gets dangerous. When stress hormones stay elevated constantly, blood vessels stop relaxing normally. The arteries remain tighter, pressure remains higher. And over months or years, that constant tension damages the vascular system deeply. Most people don't realize this. Their body never fully calms down anymore. Now here's where breathing becomes powerful. Slow, controlled breathing activates the vagus nerve. Think of the vagus nerve as the body's brake pedal. It tells the heart to slow down. It signals blood vessels to relax. It shifts the nervous system away from stress mode, and one specific rhythm works remarkably well. 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, very slow, very steady, 6 breaths per minute. That rhythm helps synchronize heart rate, blood pressure, and nervous system recovery together. Studies on this have shown surprisingly meaningful reductions in blood pressure over time, especially when combined with isometric exercise first. That sequencing matters. Your arteries become more responsive from the exercises, then the breathing calms the entire system afterward. The two amplify each other. Frank told me something fascinating after several weeks. He said, "For the first time in years, my body stopped feeling tense all morning. Not exhausted, not rushed, not constantly pressured internally. Calm. And calm physiology creates lower pressure physiology too." Stay with me, because now we're reaching the hidden mistake most seniors make every morning without realizing it. Now, let's talk about something almost nobody connects to blood pressure: water. More specifically, how you drink it. Most people assume hydration is simply about quantity. Drink more water. Problem solved. But after 60, the situation becomes more complicated. Your thirst signals weaken naturally with age. That means many seniors remain mildly dehydrated constantly without realizing it. And dehydration changes the blood itself. The blood becomes thicker, more concentrated, harder to circulate efficiently. This is where it gets dangerous. When blood becomes thicker, blood vessels constrict more to maintain circulation. And narrower vessels create higher pressure every single time. Now here's the surprising part. The speed of drinking matters too. Most people gulp water rapidly, especially in the morning. But rapid drinking can briefly activate a mild stress response inside the body. Your nervous system reacts suddenly. Heart rate shifts, internal tension increases. Meanwhile, slow sipping creates the opposite effect. Small, calm sips help maintain the relaxed parasympathetic state created by the breathing exercises. That is why the final part of this routine matters so much. 2 minutes, about 2 glasses of water, slowly. One sip every 10 to 15 seconds. No rushing, no chugging. Think of it like sealing the calming effect inside the nervous system. Margaret struggled with this initially. She laughed when I explained slow sipping. It's just water. But several weeks later, she admitted something surprising. Her mornings felt steadier, less lightheadedness, less tension in her chest, less sudden fatigue. Most people don't realize this. Tiny daily habits either reinforce stress or reduce it gradually. And after 60, the nervous system becomes extremely sensitive to routine. Stay with me, because now we need to discuss why consistency matters more than perfection. Now, here's the truth most people do not want to hear. The best routine in the world does nothing if you stop after 4 days. Consistency changes arteries. Consistency retrains the nervous system. Consistency lowers pressure over time, not perfection, and this is where many adults struggle. They rely on motivation, but motivation disappears quickly, especially when life becomes stressful or busy. So instead, we need something more reliable: habit stacking. This is extremely powerful psychologically. You attach the 1-0 minute routine to something you already do automatically every morning. Brushing your teeth, making coffee, feeding the dog, turning on the television. The existing habit becomes the trigger. No decision-making required. No debate inside your head. The moment the first habit finishes, the routine begins automatically. This dramatically reduces resistance. Most people don't realize this. The brain loves familiar patterns. That is why small, consistent routines often outperform dramatic lifestyle changes. Now, here's another important tool. Track the routine visually. A paper calendar works perfectly. Every completed morning, mark a large X on the date. After several days, your brain starts protecting the streak naturally. People hate breaking visual progress. Frank became obsessed with his calendar chain, not in an unhealthy way, in a hopeful way. For the first time in years, he finally felt involved in improving his own health. And that emotional shift matters deeply, because hopelessness raises stress too. Listen carefully. You will miss days sometimes. Everyone does. Travel happens. Illness happens. Bad mornings happen. That does not erase progress. Your arteries do not suddenly forget adaptation overnight. The danger is not missing one day. The danger is deciding one missed day means failure. It does not. You simply restart the next morning. That consistency over months creates the real transformation. Stay with me, because there's one final thing every adult over 60 needs to understand about blood pressure. I want you to picture something honestly. Two futures. In one future, blood pressure continues climbing quietly every year. The arteries become stiffer. The heart works harder constantly. Circulation weakens slowly. Then one morning, everything changes suddenly. A stroke, a fall, memory problems, kidney damage, loss of independence. And most people never expected it because they felt mostly fine beforehand. This is where high blood pressure becomes so dangerous. The damage builds silently for decades, not dramatically, quietly. Most people don't realize this. Blood pressure is not only about surviving longer, it is about protecting quality of life, protecting mobility, protecting memory, protecting independence after 60. Now picture the second future. Small, consistent habits every morning, 10 minutes. Better circulation, calmer nervous system activity, more flexible arteries, steadier energy, lower pressure over time, not perfection, progress. And slowly the body starts responding differently. Because your cardiovascular system is still adaptable after 60, that is one of the most important truths in medicine. Your body is not finished adapting. Your arteries are not too old to improve. Your nervous system can still learn calm again. Frank told me something recently that I'll never forget. He said, "For the first time in years, I feel like my body is working with me instead of against me." That sentence matters deeply, because many adults over 60 feel trapped inside declining health. But helplessness itself becomes another form of stress, and stress keeps blood pressure elevated too. Listen carefully. You do not need to change everything overnight. You need consistent signals repeated daily. That is how the body changes. That is how arteries change. That is how pressure begins coming down naturally over time. And often the smallest habits become the most powerful ones. So let's bring everything together clearly. 10 minutes. 3 simple steps. Every morning, first isometric exercises, wall sits, planks, short holds that retrain blood vessels to become more flexible again. Second, controlled breathing, 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. 2 minutes of calming the nervous system and activating the body's brake pedal. Third, slow hydration, small, calm sips of water that support circulation instead of stressing the system further. That's the entire protocol. Simple, practical, and remarkably powerful when repeated consistently. Now I want to ask you something. Which part surprised you most? The wall sits, the breathing, or the way slow sipping affects blood pressure? Tell me in the comments below. I read every single one. And if someone you love struggles with high blood pressure, share this video with them. It may help them more than you realize. And if you want more evidence-based strategies for heart health after 60, subscribe to the channel. Every week, we break down simple daily habits that help adults feel stronger, safer, and more in control of their health again. I'm Dr. Knox Carter. Take care of yourself, stay consistent, and remember, your body is always listening to the signals you repeat every day.